Welcome. Today we're going to take a look at Chapter 13. We'll introduce meiosis and in this short video. So let me get to my Chapter 13 material. We'll introduce meiosis today and in this video. And take a look at what's called the sexual life cycle to introduce a number of terms that we're going to need to understand meiosis. And here's a picture of 4 of my kids. I like this picture because it reminds me that with sexual reproduction, individual variation occurs in the offspring. You don't just make clones of each other. And yet with sexual reproduction, you still have siblings who share a lot in common. They still share half of their genetic makeup, and so you can see that they share a lot of their looks as well, at least these 4 kiddos. So let's take a look at meiosis. The first question is, well, what is meiosis, right? What happens in meiosis? In meiosis, this is the process of nuclear division, so we're thinking about what's happening in the nucleus. A nuclear division in which the number of chromosomes in the nucleus is cut in half. Cut in half, all right? And 4 genetically different nuclei are produced. So we're making gametes in this process. Meiosis is the mechanism by which the nucleus divides to make gametes. And this occurs during sexual reproduction. And in meiosis, one parent cell gives rise to 4 genetically different daughter cells, eggs or sperm, and they each have half the genetic material in them. And that makes sense because eventually, during sexual reproduction, a sperm is going to meet up with an egg, and their genetic material will come back together again. And so if you start with a cell that has, say, 46 chromosomes in it, each of the sperm has 23 chromosomes in it, and an egg has 23 chromosomes in it. And then when the sperm meets up with the egg, their genetic material fuses, the cells fuse, and now you have 46 full chromosomes again. Okay. So meiosis occurs when organisms are sexually reproducing to make the gametes or the sex cells. And let's take a look at some language that we're going to need to understand meiosis. This is a picture of the sexual life cycle, and this one is of humans, but also in animals as well. And I want you to kind of be familiar with a bunch of terms. And the first thing we're going to look at is, we'll start here with these, adults. So we've got adults that are multicellular, absolutely. And we say we're diploid. What does that even mean? It has to do with our chromosome number. It turns out that humans have 23 pairs of chromosomes. I will come back to this slide. But what I'm looking at here is called a karyotype. It's a picture of someone's chromosomes in one of their cells. And in this picture, each chromosome has already been replicated. So each chromosome kind of looks like thicker, okay? It's made up of 2 identical sister chromatids. Now, it turns out that humans have 2 sets of chromosomes. We have 2 sets of 23 chromosomes. One set is going to come from dad in the sperm, and one set has come from mom in the eggs. And you can see this with our karyotype, that humans have 2 chromosome number 1s that are the same size, the same shape, and they carry genes for the same trait. 2 chromosome number 1s, 2 chromosome number 2s that are the same size, the same shape, and they carry genes for the same trait. 2 chromosome number 3s, 4s, all the way down to, chromosome number 21, these little guys. 2 chromosome number 21s that are the same size, the same shape, and carry genes for the same traits. We call pairs of chromosomes that are the same size and the same shape and that carry genes for the same traits, we call them homologs or homologous chromosomes. So humans have 23 pair of homologous chromosomes. or 46 total chromosomes in our cells. Notice that the last pair of chromosomes down here, we call these the sex chromosomes, and this individual has a long X chromosome and a short Y chromosome. These are partially homologous. They carry some of the same genes, but not very many. This individual, we would say, whose karyotype is shown here, is biologically a male because this person has one large X chromosome and one small Y chromosome. Biological females would have two X chromosomes here. But the point is, homologous chromosomes are pairs of chromosomes that carry genes for the same traits. They are the same size, the same shape, they have their centromere in the same position. And humans have two sets of chromosomes, or we have 23 pair of homologous chromosomes. We are what we call diploid. Ploidy refers to the number of sets of chromosomes in your cells. We are diploid. We have two sets of chromosomes. Di means two, right? Diploid, two sets of chromosomes in our cells. And we say we have, our diploid number is 2N. N refers to ploidy, 2 refers to diploid. We are 2N individuals, or we have 2N sets of chromosomes, or our 2N chromosome number is typically 46. Our diploid chromosome number is 46. Okay. Oh yeah, that even says it down here, right? So there we are. We're multicellular. We have two sets of chromosomes, one set from mom, one set from dad. And during sexual reproduction in the ovaries and in the testis, a meiosis happens. Cells go through meiosis to make gametes, to make eggs and to make sperm. And during meiosis, this diploid number gets cut in half so that each gamete has just one set of chromosomes. Only 23 chromosomes in humans. Our gametes are haploid. They have one set of chromosomes. Sometimes we say 1N. Our 1N number is 23. Oops, that barely fits on. We have one set of chromosomes in the egg and in the sperm, and that happens because of meiosis. And then the egg and the sperm fuse, or fertilize. The sperm fertilizes the egg, and the zygote, the fertilized egg that is made, now has the full complement of chromosomes again. Two sets of chromosomes, one from mom, one whole set from mom, and one whole set from dad, and one whole set from egg, one whole set from the sperm. And now we've got a diploid zygote again with 2N number of chromosomes, or a diploid number of chromosomes. And then this individual single cell has to go through lots and lots and lots of mitosis and all sorts of development to develop into an adult. Those are the terms we're going to need to know. We're going to focus in Chapter 13 on meiosis. The details of meiosis look something like this. This is just an overview. Remember, in meiosis, one cell is going to give rise to 4 genetically different cells that are haploid, that have half the genetic material. And so this is a picture of how meiosis occurs. It turns out that meiosis has 2 cell divisions. There's meiosis 1 and meiosis 2. And during this process, well, let's take a look. In this picture up here, we've got a parent cell, and this parent cell is really unusual. It has 2 chromosomes in it. That's it, total. We have 46 in our cells, but this one only has 2. I looked it up, and I guess there is, in fact, an animal called the jackjumper ant that has just 2 chromosomes in itself. They're homologous to each other. They're the same size and the same shape, and they carry genes for the same traits. And before cell division can happen, we have to replicate our DNA. So each chromosome gets an identical copy. That's why I'm putting 2 greens together here, because these are identical. So each chromosome is genetically replicated to make 2 sister chromatids. And then I'm going to do the same thing with my orange chromosome here, right? So I've got 2 replicated chromosomes that are ready. This whole cell is ready to go through meiosis. In meiosis 1, the homologous chromosomes separate and move toward end up in opposite cells, or in different cells. Different cells. That's what's happening here. In meiosis 1, the homologous chromosomes already separate. In humans, that would mean by the end of meiosis 1, all of our gametes to be would have 23 chromosomes. But each cell still has its replicated sister chromatids. And so meiosis 2 takes the replicated sister chromatids and, if I can separate this, I might never be able to separate them, and separates them into different cells. So we end up down here with 4 cells that have half the genetic material. Each cell has 1 chromosome, okay, instead of 2. So these cells, if you want to draw a little sperm, are going to become sperm, for example. We're going to take a look at the details of meiosis by drawing out meiosis 1 and meiosis 2 on a whiteboard drawing. We'll probably draw it a little faster than we did with mitosis, but there's lots to learn, so we will do that next. Thanks so much. That's